Well, hello there in YouTube land and welcome back to the channel. And today, well, I'm just going to use the footage that we took on our ride to Fannet last weekend with the Forever Noobies, so I can talk to you guys about my R7 and my plans for the future. So anybody who followed the channel know that I've had my R7 for almost 2 years now. I'm at the point where I can trade it in. Now, I don't want to specifically, but if there's something in the market that would be better and price-wise makes sense, then I would trade it in. But I've been doing some research, and maybe this research is going to help you guys as well. If you're interested in buying either an R7 or something in the competition, well, stay tuned and I'll tell you all about it. So, what is the R7? The R7 is a 689, as you can see here, cc parallel twin with the cross plane crank engine from Yamaha, the CP2, very famous, the one that comes in the MT-07, but everybody knows that. So how much horsepower does this one make? It makes 73 horsepower and 67 newton meters of torque. So it's very peppy, it's very fun, I love it to death, and it's very good in the corners. So those are things, and it's very sporty. From the competition, there's not another bike that is as sporty in the position and in the riding style than the R7. So that's one of those things that is keeping me from buying something else. So what is there out there for price-wise? Because we didn't talk about the price, but the price is, what's the price? Oh, this is Canada. No, not Canada. Okay. So I bought it for $89.99. Right now it's at $9,199. That's the retail price, or the MSRP, for the 2024 model. Mine is a 22. Yes. Yeah, 22. All right. So what's out there? Let's check out, and we're gonna go for all of the premium manufacturers, right? We start with Indian motorcycles. There's, as you can see, there's nothing in the price range that would be as sporty as the R7. You have a Scout 60 for $10,749, but that makes absolutely no sense. And then the only bike that is actually sporty is the FTR, but that bike, I really don't like it. Aesthetics wise, and it's a naked bike. I already have Suzuki, so it makes no sense, so we'll discard Indian altogether. Now, what about Harley Davidson? Do they have anything in price wise and sport wise, like the riding style? Well, no, nothing. You can see here the sport thing that they have is the Sportster S and the Nightster. The Nightster special. So the Nightster, the problem with the Nightster is that, well, first of all, it's like a cruiser type Sportster. Price-wise, it's a little bit too expensive, and then, well, it has nothing to do with a sport bike. Because I want to have, this is my collection and I've had it, and I should not trade anything in because I have my collection complete. It is a sport bike, naked bike, and a cruiser or touring type cruiser bike, right? So let us go now with the Japanese manufacturers. All right, so what do they have in Honda? Honda has the CB650R, which would be a direct competitor of the R7. This one makes 93 horsepower and 63 newton meters of torque. So this bike, I like it, but I like the older model better. So why not get the 650? It has more horsepower, it's comfortable, it has an inline 4. I don't know, that's a good question. It's an option. But I already have an inline 4 with the Suzuki, and this bike is not as sporty as the R7, so I'm gonna miss that. So I mean, it's something that could be, if they change the style a little bit better, maybe, but I don't think so. All right, let's go now to Kawasaki. So what do they have in Kawasaki's lineup? Something that competes directly with this one is the Ninja 650. Now the Ninja 650 has, let's see, how many horsepower? I believe it has like 63 horsepower. So it's not that powerful, and it's a little bit slower than the R7, and then it's not a bad looking bike. It's just a little bit old, and it doesn't ride that sporty, and I really don't like the Ninja 650. So I mean, if you like that bike, it's an option, but I don't. It has a parallel twin, but it just feels a little bit old, the way it rides, the way it handles everything. So no. Now Suzuki has the GSX 8R, and it is an option. This is an option. And why is it an option? Because I rode the naked version and I loved it, so I'm pretty sure this one is going to be even better. Now looks wise, my R7, I mean, Blue Demon kicks its butt, and then it doesn't have the sporty position that the R7 has. It does have some nice colors. I like the blue one, I like the yellow one. This one, it looks better in the pictures, because it looks a little bit whiter, but it's silver, and I don't know, I didn't like the silver one. It has good, nice red wheels. But this bike is, it's on the list, right? This is the option so far, because it's a little bit more powerful and a little bit more peppy than the R7, but I don't know if it's going to handle as well as the R7. So that's why it's Now, that's for the Japanese, because, well, we already have the Yamaha. Let's go now to the Europeans. So the Europeans, they have BMW, but BMW doesn't really have anything. The thing that is closest to a little twin super sport will be the F900 XR, and problem is it only has like 95 horsepower as well, and it's not as sporty. If you look at it, it's more of a sport tour adventure style bike, and it's a nice one, but I rode it, and for the price, which is, you're not going to get one for less than 13,000, it's not as good. So I'm not into that type of bike. And if they would come up with a chassis that is like the R7's, like a mini S1000RR with that engine and all that stuff, then we will be talking about something. But here, with this bike, and no. So no BMW. Let's go Husqvarna. Now Husqvarna, that has nothing that is sport bike, but they created a Vitpilla 901, which is going to be basically the same bike as the KTM 990 Duke, with the different aesthetics, and unfortunately I don't like the new look of the new one. So for some reason they changed the look, and the 701 was a little bit prettier to look at. So no, Husqvarna, and then they're not reliable, and they're weird, and no, so forget about it. Okay, what else? KTM. So KTM, this is when we're gonna talk about things here. When and if they come up with, all right, let's talk about what they actually have first. So right now they don't have any super sport except the RC 390 and the RC 8C, but for the track, and it costs like $50,000. Impossible to get, impossible to ride on the street, so it makes no sense. And then the only thing that you can consider would be a naked bike, but I already have a naked bike, right? And the 990, they came up with this new design, and I don't know what they were thinking, like it's the Predator look or something. I don't know, it's hideous. So I would rather consider the 890 because it's prettier, and the 890 Duke R, but they're not gonna make it anymore. So this is a beautiful bike, and this is a great bike, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna be fun to ride. I rode the 790 and loved it, so this is an option. But as I said, I already have a naked bike. I have the Suzuki 1000. Why do I need another one? I don't know. Maybe I'll be a naked bike type of guy. Maybe. I don't know. So this is an option. All right. So you keep those two open right now. The 8R and from Suzuki, and the 890 Duke R from KTM. All right, let's go with the Italians before I go into Triumph, because we're going to talk about some things there. So Ducati doesn't have anything that really compares to the R7 except the Super Sport 950, which produces like 95 horsepower, and it's beautiful and it's a great bike, and I would love to have it. It's just that it's too expensive. All right, $15,495. It's just too much for a bike of this nature, right? So, I don't know. If it were my only bike, then yeah, I would definitely consider it. But it's just, I feel it's just too much money for the bike. So for what it is. So no. And anything else is just, nope, doesn't compete with the R7. Either price-wise or just performance-wise. It's just the two over the top. Same thing with the MV Agusta. MV Agusta doesn't have anything except the F3. And this is a true super sport with 3 cylinders, and the price is going to be, well, super expensive. This one is the RCE or Reparto Corsa, which is $25,999 or $998. Oh, mind you, of course it's not that expensive. It's $998, mind you. Anyway, but still, the regular one, the R model, is still going to be very expensive. Let's check it out. It's $19,000. So for that one, I can get a super sport of any Japanese brand, and it's not going to be as exotic as this one, but it's like, you know what, it's going to be better, more reliable. So this bike is just when you win the lottery, but no, it does not compete with the R7. Okay, and now let's go to, all right, before we go to that, let's try Moto Guzzi. Let's see, Moto Guzzi doesn't have anything that resembles a sport bike. So it only has a few models, and as you can see, the sportiest one is the V100 Mandello, but it's a totally different type of bike. That will compete more with the likes of, I don't know, the Suzuki GSX S1000 GX, or something like the BMW S1000 XR, that type of bike. Maybe the Suzuki Katana, I don't know, but no. All right, so let's go to Aprilia now. This Aprilia has the 100 horsepower RS 660. Why not get this bike? I don't know. Very few things to not get this bike, right? It's a great bike. It's beautiful, it's awesome, has more horsepower, and yeah, it costs a little bit more, maybe a lot more, but it has a whole bunch of electronics, and the only thing that's a little bit weird is that it's a little bit more upright, so it's not going to be as engaging as the Yamaha. But I mean, I have a friend who has one, so maybe he'll let me ride it, and then we'll consider it. What I struggled with, and why I went with the R7 to begin with, is that in Houston they wouldn't have a reliable dealer. Now we do with Wild West Motorplex, so maybe another reason I didn't get this one is like it was brand new, everything, and you hear all the stories of people getting their bikes to the shop for months because they're fixing things, right? But now it's not that new anymore, so what's keeping me from getting this one? Well, the price. I really can't afford it right now. I have to wait. And then, I don't know why, they changed the colors from the last year's, and they're not as nice. I hate this yellow one because it looks really weird. And the black one is good, but not as good as the ones that they had last time. And the Tribute to one is also not, I don't know. If I'm gonna buy a bike that has only 100 horsepower, and I'm gonna end up paying like $15,000 at the door, it's just too much. So I mean, we can keep it here as an option, but I don't think it's gonna win. Especially if they came up with this one, the little 47 horsepower RS457. I don't know, I like it. I mean, looks wise, it's a lot prettier than the with the colors of the RS 660 now. And then I don't know, it's gonna be a great commuter. It's gonna be great for I mean, very affordable, $6,899. And the only problem is I'm gonna miss horsepower, I think. So this is another option. Now that we've done a couple of real options, let's go back to Triumph. And Triumph has the 95 horsepower Daytona 660. And I just saw this in the flesh, and it's very beautiful. But this is a bike that is gonna be not as premium for Triumph. Upright position, it's not really a true super sport, so it's just a little bit weird. All right, so the new Daytona 660. As I said, it's very pretty bike, and it has a triple engine, which I love, and it's derived supposedly from the 765 and but I think it's a brand new engine. It's more derived from the Trident, I believe, and then they tuned it differently, so it makes a little bit more horsepower. But I hated the Trident when I rode it, so that's the problem. That's the biggest issue with this Daytona. It's not really a Daytona, right? But I don't care about the names of things. I mean, I bought the R7 not caring about, oh, it's not a true R7. Yeah, whatever. It's a nice bike. I like to ride it. Anyway, so this is an option, but this one is the actual option from Triumph. All right, the Street Triple RS. So as you can see, $10,199. That's for the R model. $12,795 for the RS. I love this bike, and I know I said super sport or sport bike, super bike, sport bike, whatever, full fare sport bike, naked bike, cruiser, or touring bike, but I just like this one too much. This one too much. So why haven't I bought the 765 Street Triple RS? I'm gonna tell you guys. First one is this. There's always this option, right? The RS 660. Like this one too. This one, no, but I also like this one. But when you compare it to these two, obviously, no, not this one. To these two, obviously the price difference makes Suzuki a candidate, but I like this one too much. So this one is on the top of my list. But then Yamaha, well, what they did is they came up with a beautiful triple as well. And it's a little bit more affordable, right? Or maybe basically the same, because you can get the, if you're looking for the, no, not the Hyper Sports, let's do motorcycle, Hyper Naked, MT-09 SP, $12,299. You see, a little bit more affordable, and maybe it's not as pretty as the Triumph, but it's so good looking. Look at that. I love it. So, if they came up with this one, then, and then, no and then, no and then, and then, these idiots from KTM are also coming up with the RC 990, I think it's going to be called, which is basically this model but with the newer engine, and it's for the street. So you see why I cannot decide, and this is why I'm keeping the R7 for now, because, well, we have to wait. We have to wait and see what this thing actually looks like, the new RC 990, and what the Yamaha R9 actually looks like. Once we test ride those two, we can decide. And if those two are too expensive and they have nothing to offer better, this will be the option, guys. 765. All right, so that is it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you so much for listening and for supporting the channel. Remember, if you like the videos, to give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and hit the bell button, and share it with all your friends. And don't forget to buy some merch. And if you don't like the videos, well, buy some merch anyway and share it with all your enemies. And I'll see you guys on the next one.